Jake Morrison was drinking his morning coffee when the sky turned purple. He stood on the deck of the Naval Air Station, watching the sunrise over Portland. The city looked peaceful. People were getting ready for work. Kids were walking to school. Everything was normal. Then the light changed. Jake dropped his coffee mug. It broke on the concrete, but he did not notice. Above the city, massive dark shapes were coming down through the clouds. They were bigger than anything Jake had ever seen. Bigger than aircraft carriers, bigger than mountains. The ships were black and smooth. They moved without sound. Jake grabbed his radio with shaking hands. "Control tower, this is Morrison. We have unknown aircraft over Portland. Very large aircraft. Request immediate backup." The UN radio crackled. "Morrison, what are you talking about? Our radar shows nothing." Jake stared at the ships. There were 12 of them now. Each one was at least 5 miles long. Blue lights ran along their sides like veins. "Control, look outside. Look at the city." "Morrison, are you feeling okay? Maybe you should report to medical." "Look at the dam." "Sky!" Jake shouted. The first beam came down from the lead ship. It was bright blue and as wide as a city block. When it touched the ground, buildings started to rise, not falling down, rising up. The whole downtown area began lifting into the air like someone was pulling it with invisible strings. Jake watched the Pioneer Courthouse Square float upward. Cars fell from the edges, tumbling down like toys. People on the streets were running and screaming, but their voices were too far away to hear. His radio exploded with noise. Every channel was full of panicked voices. "This is air traffic control. We have an emergency situation over Portland. Multiple unknown aircraft. Requesting all available units. The buildings are flying. The whole city is flying. 20 miles away." Dr. Lisa Carter was setting up her equipment in the forest. She studied animals and their behavior. Today she was tracking deer migration patterns. She had cameras, computers, and sensors spread out between the trees. Lisa heard a low humming sound. She looked up through the branches and saw the purple sky. "What the hell?" she whispered. She grabbed her video camera and ran to the edge of the forest. From there, she could see Portland clearly. Her mouth fell open. The city was rising into the air. Not just a few buildings, the entire downtown area. Highways, parks, shopping centers, schools, hospitals. Everything was being pulled upward by beams of blue light. Lisa turned on her camera and started recording. Her hands were shaking, but she kept the lens steady. This was impossible. This was insane. But it was happening. "This is Dr. Lisa Carter," she said into the camera. "The date is October 15th, 2024. The time is 7:42 a.m. I am witnessing what appears to be, I don't know what this is. The city of Portland is being lifted into the sky by unknown aircraft. The alien ships worked with perfect timing. Each ship had 3 beams. They moved in patterns, taking sections of the city piece by piece. Lisa watched apartment buildings, office towers, and shopping malls disappear into the purple sky. She zoomed in with her camera. Through the lens, she could see people on the floating buildings. They were pressed against windows, trying to understand what was happening to them. Some were jumping. Lisa had to look away. On the lead alien ship, Fleet Commander Veltar watched the harvest through his viewing screen. The operation was going perfectly. This primitive world had been easy to find and easy to approach. Their scouts had reported correctly. The beings here had crude technology, simple weapons, no space travel. Veltar's people, the Zephyrians, had harvested over 300 worlds in the past 1,000 years. This was routine work. Take a population center, process the beings, send them to work camps on distant planets. The Zephyrian Empire always needed more workers. "Commander," his assistant said, "the humans are trying to communicate with us." Veltar laughed. It sounded like metal scraping against stone. "Let them try. What can they do? Throw rocks at us?" The assistant pointed to his screen. "Their military aircraft are approaching." Veltar looked. Tiny flying machines were coming toward his fleet. They looked like insects. "Destroy them," he said. "We don't need complications." Red beams shot out from the alien ships. The human fighter jets exploded instantly. Veltar nodded with satisfaction. Continue the harvest. Back at the Naval Air Station, Jake Morrison watched his fellow pilots die. 6 F-18 fighters had tried to intercept the alien ships. They were gone in seconds. Just bright flashes in the sky, then nothing. Jake's radio was chaos. Every military base in the country was trying to understand what was happening. Satellite images were coming in from around the world. The president was being moved to a secure location. Nuclear weapons were being prepared. But it was too late. The harvest was almost complete. Lisa Carter kept recording as the last buildings rose into the sky. The alien ships were closing their beams. Huge doors opened in their bottoms, and the pieces of Portland disappeared inside. 2.3 million people. Gone. The ships began to move. They rose higher and higher until they were just dots in the purple sky. Then they were gone entirely. Lisa lowered her camera. Where Portland used to be, there was just a giant hole in the ground. The crater was perfectly circular, 5 miles across. At the bottom, she could see broken water pipes and electrical cables. Steam was rising from the earth. Her phone rang. It was her sister in California. Lisa, are you okay? We're seeing it on the news. Portland is gone. The whole city is gone. Lisa looked at her video camera. She had recorded everything. She had proof of what happened. But who would believe it? I'm okay, she said. But Portland, they took everyone. They took everyone. In Washington, D.C., President Helen Rodriguez was in the Situation Room deep under the White House. Generals and scientists filled the room. Everyone was talking at once. Madam President, General Mike Patterson said, "We need to prepare for invasion. This could be the first wave." "How many people?" the president asked. "Portland metro area. About 2.3 million civilians." The president closed her eyes. 2.3 million Americans, taken by creatures from another world. What are our options? Right now? None, General Patterson said. We don't have the technology to follow them. We don't even know where they went. President Rodriguez looked at the satellite images on the big screen. The crater where Portland used to be looked like a wound in the earth. Then we need to get the technology. Whatever it takes, we're going to get our people back. Around the world, the news spread instantly. Alien contact. First contact with an extraterrestrial species. But it was not the peaceful meeting that scientists had hoped for. It was an attack, an abduction on a massive scale. The footage from Dr. Lisa Carter's camera played on every news channel. The world watched in horror as an entire city was stolen from the earth. Religious leaders called it the end times. Scientists demanded immediate research into alien technology. Military leaders prepared for war. But the aliens were already gone, traveling faster than light toward distant stars. In their cargo holds, 2.3 million humans were beginning to understand that their lives had changed forever. They were no longer citizens of Earth. They were specimens in an alien empire that spanned the galaxy. The age of humanity's innocence was over. The age of galactic war was about to begin. 3 weeks after the harvest, the world had changed completely. Every major city had military checkpoints. Scientists worked around the clock in secret laboratories. The United Nations building in New York buzzed with activity day and night. General Mike Patterson stood in front of the largest war room ever created. Representatives from 50 countries sat at a massive round table. Behind them, screens showed maps of the world, space, and the crater where Portland used to be. "Ladies and gentlemen," General Patterson said, "we are at war, not with another country, not with terrorists. We are at war with an alien empire that just stole 2.3 million of our people." Amy Jackson sat in the back of the room. She was an aerospace engineer from Boeing. Her brother Tim had been visiting Portland when the aliens came. Now Tim was gone and Amy was part of the most important project in human history. "We have recovered alien technology from the harvest site," General Patterson continued. "Small pieces, but enough to start learning. Dr. Kevin Walsh will explain what we've discovered." Dr. Walsh was a thin man with thick glasses. He had not slept in 3 weeks. The alien ships use a form of technology we've never seen. They can manipulate gravity itself. That's how they lifted the city. They also travel faster than light using something we're calling quantum drives. A general from Russia raised her hand. How long will it take us to build this technology? Normally, maybe 50 years, Dr. Walsh said. But we don't have 50 years. We're working with a timeline of months. Every day we wait, our people get further away. Amy Jackson stood up. Dr. Walsh, may I speak? General Patterson nodded. Go ahead, Miss Jackson. I've been studying the alien metal fragments, Amy said. The material is incredibly advanced, but I think we can reverse engineer it. If we combine it with our existing rocket technology, we might be able to build something. That works. How fast? General Patterson asked. 6 months for a prototype. Maybe less if we get help from every aerospace company on Earth. General Patterson smiled for the first time in weeks. Then that's what we're going to do. This project has unlimited funding, unlimited resources, whatever you need. On the other side of the world, Captain Tony Rodriguez was getting ready for the most dangerous mission in human history. His ship was called the UES Pioneer. It was built using human technology mixed with alien materials found at the harvest site. The ship was small, only room for 5 people. It was fast, but not as fast as the alien vessels. It could travel to nearby star systems, but the trip would take months. Captain, his navigator, Lieutenant Ben Wright, said, "Are you sure about this mission? We don't even know where we're going." Tony looked at the star charts. Dr. Walsh's team had studied the alien ship's departure path. They had calculated the most likely destinations. "We're going to find our people, Ben, whatever it takes." Meanwhile, in a place beyond the stars, the harvested humans were learning about their new reality. The aliens had taken them to a processing facility on a moon called Harvax 7. The moon was cold and dark. The air was thin. Massive buildings made of black metal covered the surface. Detective Ray Cooper had been visiting Portland for a police conference when the harvest happened. Now he was in an alien prison with 50,000 other humans in his section. The aliens had separated them into groups based on their skills: workers, thinkers, and fighters. Ray was classified as a fighter, but he was using his police training to do something else. He was organizing resistance. "Listen," Ray whispered to the group around him. "These aliens think they know us. They've done this before to other species, but they don't understand humans." Dr. Nina Bell, a surgeon from Portland General Hospital, leaned closer. "What do you mean?" "Other species probably gave up, accepted their fate, but not us. We're going to fight back from the inside, while Earth figures out how to come get us." Carl Young, a firefighter, nodded. "What do you need us to do?" Ray had been studying the alien guards for weeks. "First we learn their routines, then we find their weaknesses, then we cause problems." The aliens guarding them were called Zephyrians. They were tall, thin creatures with gray skin and large black eyes. They wore armor and carried energy weapons. But Ray had noticed something important. They were lazy. They expected the prisoners to be afraid and obedient. "The guards change shifts every 8 hours, Ray explained. "During the shift change, there's a 3-minute gap where the North Corridor isn't watched." Dr. Bell frowned. "What can we do in 3 minutes?" "Enough," Ray said. "We start small, sabotage their equipment, slow down their operations, make them think we're just stupid animals having accidents." In another section of the facility, other humans were having similar conversations. The aliens had underestimated human cooperation. Even separated into different areas, the humans were finding ways to communicate and organize. Back on Earth, the crash program to build advanced technology was showing results. Amy Jackson's team had successfully created a small gravity manipulator. It was crude compared to alien technology, but it worked. "The test was successful," Amy reported to General Patterson. "We lifted a car 3 feet off the ground and held it there for 10 minutes. General Patterson smiled. "How long until we can lift a spaceship?" 2 more months, maybe less. Dr. Walsh's team had made progress too. We've figured out the basics of their faster-than-light travel. It uses quantum entanglement to fold space. We can't build one yet, but we understand the theory. President Rodriguez visited the facility every week. She always asked the same question. When can we go get our people? The answer was always the same. Soon, Madam President. Very soon. Captain Tony Rodriguez and his crew finally launched in the UES Pioneer. The ship was experimental. It might work perfectly, or it might explode the moment they tried to go faster. Then light. All systems green, Lieutenant Wright reported. Ready for FTL jump. Tony took a deep breath. Jump. The ship stretched and twisted. Reality bent around them. For a moment, Tony thought he was going to die. Then suddenly, they were somewhere else. The stars were different. They had traveled 4 light years in an instant. We did it, Wright whispered. We actually did it. Tony checked their instruments. Set course for the Proxima system. If the aliens have a base there, we need to find it. On Harvac 7, Ray Cooper's resistance was growing. They had sabotaged 3 alien machines and caused 2 power outages. The aliens were getting frustrated, but they still thought it was just accidents. Tonight we try something bigger, Ray told his group. The processing center has a main computer. If we can damage it, we can slow down their whole operation. Dr. Bell looked worried. What if they catch us? Then they catch us, Carl Jung said. But we're not going to sit here and wait to be shipped off to some mining planet. Ray nodded. These aliens think they're superior to us. They think they can treat us like animals. Time to show them they're wrong. The resistance mission was set for midnight. 12 humans would sneak through the facility and plant an explosive device near the main computer. The device was made from parts stolen from alien machines over several weeks. As Ray and his team prepared for their mission, none of them knew that help was already on the way. Captain Rodriguez's ship was moving through alien space, gathering intelligence. Earth's weapons factories were working day and night to build humanity's first interstellar war fleet. The aliens had made a simple mistake. They assumed that humans would be like every other species they had conquered, weak, afraid, willing to accept slavery. But humans were different. Humans fought back. Humans never gave up. And humans were very, very good at learning new ways to kill their enemies. The Zephyrian Empire had ruled the galaxy for thousands of years. They had conquered hundreds of worlds and enslaved countless species. They thought they were unstoppable. They were about to learn how wrong they were. In 6 more months, Earth would launch the largest rescue mission in human history. The war between humans and aliens was just beginning, and the aliens had no idea what was coming for them. Captain Tony Rodriguez had been traveling through alien space for 2 months when his ship detected something unexpected. It was not a Zephyrian vessel. The energy signature was completely different. Captain, Lieutenant Wright said, we're being scanned by an unknown ship. It's not using Zephyrian technology. Tony looked at his screens. A sleek silver ship was approaching them. It was about the same size as the Pioneer, but its design was elegant and smooth. Can we communicate with them? They're trying to send us a message. It's not in any Earth language, but our computer is trying to translate. The message came through as text on their screen. Human vessel, we know of your species. You are in great danger here. Please follow us to safety. Tony and Apiu, his crew exchanged glances. Another alien species, but this one seemed friendly. Set course to follow them, Tony ordered. But keep our weapons ready. The silver ship led them to a hidden space station inside an asteroid belt. The station was massive and beautiful. It had gardens visible through transparent domes. Ships from many different species were docked there. When Tony and his crew came aboard, they met their first friendly aliens. The beings called themselves Altarians. They looked somewhat like humans, but taller and thinner. Their skin had a slight blue tint, and their eyes were larger than human eyes. Ambassador Kira Vell was the Altarian who greeted them. She spoke perfect English, which surprised Tony. How do you know our language? Tony asked. We have been watching your species for some time, Kira said. We saw what the Zephyrians did to your city. We are very sorry. We know what it feels like to lose people to them. She led them to a meeting room with a large table and comfortable chairs. Please sit down. There is much you need to know about the galaxy. Kira explained that the Altarian Republic was a small group of 12 worlds that had managed to stay free from Zephyrian control. They were not strong enough to fight the Empire directly, but they helped other species when they could. The Zephyrians control over 200 star systems, Kira said. They have been building their empire for 3,000 years. Your people are not the first to be harvested. Tony felt sick. How many species have they taken? Hundreds. Most are completely enslaved now. They work in mines, factories, and farms throughout the Empire. The Zephyrians see other species as nothing more than tools. Lieutenant Wright leaned forward. Do you know where our people are? Kira nodded sadly. Yes, they are being held on a processing moon called Harvac 7. It is in the Kepler sector about 50 light-years from here. Can you help us rescue them? We want to help, Kira said. But the Zephyrian military is very strong. Any attack on their facilities would bring massive retaliation. They would destroy both our worlds and yours. Tony stood up and paced around the room. So we're supposed to just leave our people there? No, Kira said. But you need to be much stronger before you can challenge the Empire. Your species is remarkable, Captain Rodriguez. In just 2 months you have developed faster than light travel. That usually takes species centuries. She showed them a holographic display of the galaxy. Red areas showed Zephyrian territory. It covered most of the galaxy's spiral arms. Blue areas showed free worlds like the Altarian Republic. There were very few blue areas. Your world is here, Kira pointed to a small yellow dot. Earth is in an area the Zephyrians consider unimportant. They harvested one of your cities as a routine operation. They have no idea how dangerous you could become. While Captain Rodriguez was learning about the galaxy, back on Earth, the crash program to build advanced technology was exceeding all expectations. Amy Jackson's team had built their first working spaceship with gravity control and faster-than-light capability. The ship was called the UES Defiance. It was 3 times larger than the Pioneer and carried advanced weapons based on alien technology. Test flight is scheduled for tomorrow, Amy reported to General Patterson. If it works, we can start mass production. Dr. Walsh had made breakthrough discoveries about alien technology. We've learned to build their energy weapons. The power source is incredible. One small alien battery has more energy than a nuclear reactor. President Rodriguez visited the facility for the test flight. She watched from the control room as the Defiance lifted off using gravity control instead of rocket engines. Jump test in 30 seconds, the pilot reported. The ship disappeared. In a flash of light, 3 minutes later it reappeared exactly where it started. Jump successful, the pilot said. We traveled to the moon and back, all systems working perfectly. President Rodriguez smiled for the first time since the harvest. How many ships can we build? With current resources, maybe 50 ships in 6 months, General Patterson said. But Captain Rodriguez's mission has given us new information. We're going to need more than that. Ambassador Elena Martinez had been chosen to lead Earth's first diplomatic mission to the Altarian Republic. She was a career diplomat who spoke 8 languages and had negotiated treaties around the world. Elena traveled to the Altarian space station aboard the UES Defiance. When she met with Ambassador Kiravel, she brought an offer of alliance. Earth wants to join the fight against the Zephyrian Empire, Elena said. We have technology, determination, and a very strong military tradition. Kira was impressed by how quickly humans had advanced. Your species is remarkable, but you need to understand the true scope of what you're facing. She showed Elena detailed intelligence about the Zephyrian Empire. Their military had thousands of ships. Their technology was centuries ahead of most species. They had never lost a major war. However, Kira continued, they have weaknesses. They are overconfident. They don't adapt quickly to new threats. And they have never faced a species that advances as fast as humans do. Elena studied the intelligence reports. What do you recommend? Build your fleet. Train your military. Learn everything you can about alien technology, and when you're ready, we'll help you plan a rescue mission to Harvax 7. On Harvax 7, Ray Cooper's resistance had grown from 12 people to over 300. They had sabotaged dozens of alien machines and caused significant delays in the processing operation. The Zephyrian guards were becoming suspicious. Commander Zethak, the facility's leader, had ordered increased security. "The humans are causing too many problems," Zethak told his officers. "Perhaps we should begin immediate transport to the mining worlds." But Ray Cooper's network had found ways to delay even that. Dr. Nina Bell had discovered that she could make people sick without causing permanent damage. If enough humans were ill, the aliens would not transport them. "It's working," Dr. Bell told Ray. "The aliens think we're having an outbreak of some Earth disease. They're keeping us in quarantine." Carl Jung had organized work slowdowns in the labor sections. "We're working at half speed," he reported. "The aliens are frustrated, but they think we're just naturally slow." Ray smiled. "Keep it up. Every day we delay is another day for Earth to find us." He had no way of knowing that Earth had already found them. Captain Rodriguez's intelligence had revealed their exact location. The rescue mission was being planned, but the humans on Harvax 7 continued their resistance anyway. They had made contact with other enslaved species on the facility. The Kalari, a reptilian species that had been enslaved for 50 years, were impressed by human determination. "Your species is different," Kalari leader Sektar told Ray. "Most species give up after the first few weeks. You have been here for months and still fight." "Humans don't give up," Ray said. "We never surrender." Word of human resistance was spreading through the alien facility. Other species were beginning to organize their own resistance movements. The Zephyrians had never faced anything like this. Back on Earth, the production of advanced warships was accelerating. The UES Defiance had been joined by 20 more ships. Each one was more advanced than the last as human engineers continued to improve their alien technology. Admiral Kate Sullivan was chosen to command Earth's first interstellar fleet. She was a veteran of naval warfare who had commanded aircraft carriers around the world. "Our mission is simple," Admiral Sullivan told her captains. "We're going to get our people back, and we're going to show these aliens that humans don't make good slaves." The fleet was preparing to depart for Harvax 7. The rescue mission would be the largest military operation in human history. Success would save 2.3 million people and establish humanity as a major power in the galaxy. Failure would mean the end of human civilization. But Elena Martinez's diplomatic mission had revealed something important. Other species throughout the galaxy were watching. If humans could successfully challenge the Zephyrian Empire, it might inspire rebellions on hundreds of worlds. The aliens had made a critical mistake when they harvested Portland. They thought they were taking slaves from a primitive world. Instead, they had awakened a sleeping giant. Earth was no longer just trying to rescue its people. Earth was preparing to liberate the galaxy. 6 months after the harvest, Admiral Kate Sullivan stood on the bridge of the UES Defiance, leading humanity's first interstellar rescue fleet. 12 human warships moved through space toward Harvax 7. Each ship was equipped with the most advanced technology Earth had ever built. "All ships report ready for combat," Commander Steve Johnson said. He was Admiral Sullivan's tactical officer, and he had spent months studying Zephyrian military tactics. "Remember, this is a rescue mission first," Admiral Sullivan said over the fleet communications. "Our priority is getting our people out alive. Fighting is secondary." But everyone knew that fighting would be necessary. Harvax 7 was defended by 6 Zephyrian warships and an orbital defense station. The aliens would not give up their prisoners easily. On Harvax 7, Ray Cooper felt the ground shake. Through the prison windows, he could see explosions in the sky. Human ships were attacking the orbital defenses. "This is it," Ray told his resistance network. "Earth has come for us. Everyone knows what to do." Dr. Nina Bell and her medical team were ready to treat wounded people during the evacuation. Carl Jung had organized groups to move quickly through the facility toward the landing zones. The resistance had been preparing for this moment for months. They had memorized escape routes, hidden supplies, and organized communication systems. When the rescue came, they would be ready. Human prisoners, a voice said over the facility's speakers. This is Admiral Sullivan of the Earth Fleet. We are here to take you home. Follow the resistance leaders to the evacuation points. The Zephyrian guards were in chaos. They had never faced an attack on one of their prison facilities. Their military doctrine assumed that primitive species could never develop the technology to reach their territory. Commander Zethak tried to organize a defense, but his forces were scattered across the massive facility. All units, prevent the prisoners from escaping. Kill them if necessary. But the human resistance was too well organized. Ray Cooper's people had spent months learning the facility's layout. They knew every corridor, every guard post, every weakness in the security system. Move, Ray shouted as he led a group of 200 humans toward Landing Bay 7. Stay together. Watch for alien patrols. The rescue operation exceeded all expectations. Admiral Sullivan's fleet not only extracted the human prisoners, but also discovered that 3 other species were being held at the facility. The Kalari, the Nixari, and the Vorthon had all been enslaved by the Zephyrians. We're taking everyone, Admiral Sullivan decided. No one stays behind. Commander Johnson frowned. Admiral, our ships don't have room for everyone. We planned for 2.3 million humans, not 4 million total beings. Then we make room, Admiral Sullivan said. Humans don't leave allies behind. Major Julie Parker was leading ground operations on Harvax 7. She was a Marine Corps officer who had volunteered for the most dangerous job in the mission. Her team was securing the prison facility while the evacuation continued. We've got Zephyrian reinforcements incoming, one of her Marines reported. 20 dropships, landing in 5 minutes. Julie checked her weapon. It was based on alien technology but built with human improvements. Let them come. Time to show these aliens how Marines fight. The battle for Harvax 7 lasted 6 hours. Human forces fought with determination that shocked the Zephyrians. When alien reinforcements arrived, they expected to face frightened prisoners and a few primitive rescue ships. Instead, they found organized military units using advanced weapons and tactics. The humans fought with a ferocity that the aliens had never encountered. Their warriors are incredible, Zephyrian Ground Commander Vextal reported to his superiors. They fight like demons. They never retreat. They never surrender. But the most important discovery came from the facility's computer systems. Major Parker's technical team downloaded massive amounts of intelligence about the Zephyrian Empire. We've got fleet positions, supply routes, military codes, everything, the team leader reported. This is better than we could have hoped for. The intelligence revealed that the Zephyrian Empire was much weaker than it appeared. Their military was spread thin across hundreds of star systems. Many of their subject worlds were restless and ready to rebel. Most importantly, the humans learned about the Empire's command structure. The Zephyrians ruled through fear and overwhelming force. They had never adapted to fighting an enemy that could match their technology. As the evacuation concluded, Admiral Sullivan made a decision that would change galactic history. Instead of just rescuing the prisoners, she ordered attacks on 3 nearby Zephyrian supply depots. Admiral, that wasn't part of the mission, Commander Johnson said. The mission just changed, Admiral Sullivan replied. We're not just rescuing our people anymore. We're starting a war. The attacks on the supply depots were devastatingly successful. Human ships using hit-and-run tactics destroyed facilities that had taken the Zephyrians decades to build. But more importantly, the attack sent a message to every enslaved species in the galaxy. The Zephyrian Empire could be hurt. The Zephyrians could be defeated. News of the human rescue spread through the galactic communication networks. On worlds throughout Zephyrian space, enslaved populations began to hope for the first time in generations. On the Kalari homeworld, resistance leader Tekvar heard about the human victory. If these humans can attack the Empire successfully, perhaps we can too, he told his followers. On the Nixari colonies, underground movements began planning coordinated uprisings. The humans had proven that the Zephyrians were not invincible. Supreme Admiral Kethrak, leader of the Zephyrian military, received the reports of the Harvax 7 attack in his command center on Zephyr Prime. This is impossible, he said. staring at the tactical displays. How can one primitive species develop such advanced technology so quickly? His intelligence officers had no answers. Human technological advancement was beyond anything they had seen before. In less than 1 year, humans had gone from being unable to leave their own planet to conducting successful military operations across interstellar space. Supreme Admiral, his aide said, we're receiving reports of unrest on 17 worlds. The subject populations are becoming bold. They think they can fight us now. Kethrak's face twisted with rage. Then we will show them they are wrong. Mobilize the core fleet. We will destroy the human homeworld and make an example of them. The core fleet was the Zephyrian Empire's most powerful military force. It consisted of 200 of their largest warships, including planet-killer vessels that could destroy entire worlds. The fleet had not been used in over 3 centuries. The Zephyrians had not faced a serious military threat in that long, but Kethrak knew that the human rescue of Harvax 7 was more than just a military victory. It was a symbol. If other species believed they could successfully rebel against the Empire, the entire galactic order would collapse. How long to reach the human homeworld? Kethrak asked his navigation officer. 3 months, Supreme Admiral, traveling at maximum speed. Then we have 3 months to prepare. I want every weapon operational. I want enough firepower to turn their planet into space dust. Meanwhile, the rescued humans were arriving at Earth to celebrations unlike anything in human history. The return of the Portland population was broadcast around the world. President Rodriguez gave a speech that was heard by every human on the planet. Our people are home, she said. But this is not the end. This is the beginning. We have learned that we are not alone in the universe. We have learned that there are those who would enslave us, but we have also learned that we can fight back. We can win. Ray Cooper, Dr. Nina Bell, and Carl Jung became instant heroes. They had organized the resistance that made the rescue possible, but they all knew that the real war was just beginning. The aliens won't give up, Ray told news reporters. They're going to come after Earth with everything they have. We need to be ready. Admiral Sullivan's fleet had returned with more than just rescued humans. They brought alien prisoners, captured technology, and most importantly, detailed intelligence. About enemy capabilities and positions, Dr. Walsh's team was already analyzing the new alien technology. We can improve our ships significantly, he reported to General Patterson. The aliens have some techniques we hadn't discovered yet. Amy. Jackson was leading the effort to mass-produce improved warships. With this new technology, we can build ships that are better than the alien vessels, she said. Give me 6 months and we'll have a fleet of 200 ships. But intelligence analysts were worried about something they found in the captured data. The Zephyrian Empire had a core fleet of massive warships that had never been defeated. They're coming for us, Intelligence Director Robert Kane told President Rodriguez. Our attack on Harvax 7 has forced them to respond. They're going to try to destroy Earth. President Rodriguez looked at the intelligence reports. The Zephyrian core fleet was enormous. Even with humanity's advanced technology, the coming battle would be the greatest test in human history. How long do we have? She asked. 3 months, maybe 4. Then we have 4 months to build the most powerful military force this galaxy has ever seen. The rescue of Harvax 7 had been a great victory, but it had also started a war that would determine the fate of every intelligent species in the galaxy. Humanity had 4 months to prepare for the 4 months after the Harvax 7 rescue, humanity was ready for the fight of their existence. Admiral Kate Sullivan now commanded a fleet of 60 Earth warships, the most advanced vessels ever built. But intelligence reports showed that the Zephyrian core fleet had over 200 ships heading toward Earth. We're outnumbered 3-1, Commander Steve Johnson said as he reviewed the tactical displays. Even with our technological advantages, this is going to be difficult. Admiral Sullivan studied the enemy fleet positions. We're not going to fight them head-on. We're going to use human tactics. Hit and run. Divide and conquer. Make them chase us while we destroy their supply lines. Dr. Walsh had made one final breakthrough that would change everything. We've figured out how to disrupt their quantum entanglement drives, he announced at the pre-battle briefing. If we can deploy this technology on a large scale, we can strand their entire fleet. The device was called a quantum disruptor. When activated, it would create cascading failures in any ship using Zephyrian drive technology within a 50-mile radius. "How many can we build?" General Patterson asked. "We have 12 ready now. That's enough to affect their entire fleet if we position them correctly." Meanwhile, across the galaxy, the human rescue of Harvax 7 had inspired exactly what Supreme Admiral Kethrak feared most. Rebellions were breaking out on dozens of worlds. On the Kalari homeworld, Resistance leader Tekvar led an uprising that captured 3 major cities. "The humans showed us that the Zephyrians can be beaten," he broadcast to his people. "Now we fight for our own freedom." Similar rebellions were happening throughout Zephyrian space. The Nexari, the Vorthon, and 15 other enslaved species had declared independence and were fighting Zephyrian occupation forces. Commander Ryan Foster led Earth's Covert Operations Division. His mission was to coordinate with these rebellions and provide them with advanced weapons and tactical support. "Every Zephyrian ship fighting rebels is one less ship they can send to Earth," Ryan explained to his team. "We're going to make sure they have plenty of rebellions to worry about." Ryan's teams used captured Zephyrian technology to infiltrate the Empire's communication networks. They provided rebel groups with intelligence about enemy positions and weaknesses. The strategy was working. Instead of sending their entire core fleet to Earth, the Zephyrians had to split their forces to deal with uprisings across their empire. When the Zephyrian fleet finally arrived in Earth's solar system, they found humanity ready for them. Admiral Sullivan's ships were positioned throughout the system, using asteroids and moons for cover. Supreme Admiral Kethrak commanded the enemy fleet from his flagship, the Devastator. It was the largest warship ever built, over 10 miles long and armed with planet-killing weapons. "Begin the bombardment," Kethrak ordered. "Turn their world into dust." But the first Zephyrian attack ran into something they had never encountered before. Earth's orbital defense platforms were equipped with quantum disruptors. As the alien ships approached Earth, their drives began failing. 12 Zephyrian vessels suddenly lost power and began drifting helplessly through space. "What is happening?" Kethrak demanded. "Why are my ships losing power?" His technical officers had no explanation. Human technology was once again exceeding their understanding. Admiral Sullivan's fleet struck while the enemy was confused. Human ships appeared from behind asteroids and moons, hitting the Zephyrians with coordinated attacks. The battle for Earth lasted 3 days. Human pilots like Captain Lisa Park and Commander Dan Miller became legends, flying impossible missions against overwhelming odds. "This is Captain Park," Lisa reported during the 2nd day of battle. "I've got 6 enemy fighters on my tail, but I'm leading them into the asteroid field. Human pilots know how to fly in tight spaces better than aliens do. The Zephyrians had superior numbers, but humans had superior tactics. Earth's pilots used the solar system's geography to their advantage, fighting among the planets and asteroid belts where their smaller, more maneuverable ships could outfight the massive alien vessels. On the 3rd day, Admiral Sullivan launched Operation Prometheus, the most daring attack in human military history. 50 human ships would make a direct assault on the Devastator, while the rest of the fleet kept the other Zephyrian vessels busy. Commander Johnson led the attack on the enemy flagship. "All ships, this is Johnson. Target their command center. If we can take out their leader, their whole fleet might surrender." The attack was successful beyond their wildest hopes. Human fighters penetrated the Devastator's defenses and destroyed its command center. Supreme Admiral Kethrak was killed in the explosion. Without their commander, the Zephyrian fleet fell apart. Some ships tried to retreat, others surrendered. A few kept fighting until they were destroyed. But the real victory was happening across the galaxy. News of the Zephyrian defeat at Earth spread instantly through the galactic communication networks. On every enslaved world, populations rose up against their oppressors. The Zephyrian Empire, built over 3,000 years, collapsed in a matter of weeks. Without their core fleet and with rebellions on hundreds of worlds, the aliens could not maintain control of their territory. Ray Cooper, now a colonel in Earth's new Galactic Defense Force, led liberation missions to former Zephyrian prison worlds. "Every species deserves to be free," he said as his teams freed millions of enslaved beings. Dr. Nina Bell established medical facilities on liberated worlds, treating beings who had been enslaved for generations. "Healing takes time," she said, "but freedom makes healing possible." Captain Alex Turner became Earth's first interstellar ambassador. He worked with liberated species to establish the Galactic Liberation Council, a new organization dedicated to preventing any species from building another empire through conquest. "The age of empires is over," Alex announced at the council's first meeting. "The age of cooperation has begun." The former Zephyrian capital world, Zephyr Prime, was transformed into the headquarters of the new galactic government. Instead of being ruled by one species, the galaxy would be governed by representatives from all free worlds. Amy Jackson, now Director of Interstellar Technology Development, established research facilities where scientists from dozens of species could work together. "We're stronger when we share knowledge, Bargeron," she said. "No one species has all the answers." Dr. Lisa Carter, the scientist who had recorded the original harvest, became head of the Interspecies Contact Department. Her job was to ensure that when new species were discovered, they were welcomed as equals rather than seen as potential slaves. "Every species has something valuable to contribute," Lisa said. "The Zephyrians saw others as resources to be exploited. We see them as partners." The memorial on the site where Portland once stood became a symbol of human determination and the price of freedom. The inscription read, "They took our people. We brought down their empire. Remember Portland. Remember that freedom is worth any price." President Rodriguez, now serving her second term, spoke at the memorial's dedication ceremony. "Portland was taken from us as a symbol of our helplessness," she said. "Today it stands as a symbol of our strength. We will never forget what was taken from us, but we will also never forget what we accomplished in response." The galaxy was free. The Zephyrian Empire was gone. Hundreds of species that had lived as slaves for generations were now free to determine their own destinies. Humanity had gone from being harvested victims to galactic liberators in less than 2 years. The phrase "Remember Portland" became a rallying cry for freedom throughout the galaxy. On distant worlds, when beings faced oppression, they would tell the story of the humans who refused to accept slavery. They would remember that one species' determination to rescue their own people had led to the liberation of an entire galaxy. The Zephyrians had made a fatal mistake when they harvested Portland. They thought they were taking slaves from a primitive world. Instead, they had awakened humanity's warrior spirit and triggered the greatest liberation in galactic history. Earth's children now traveled among the stars as equals, working with hundreds of other species to build a better galaxy. The age of empire was over. The age of freedom had begun, and it all started because 2.3 million humans refused to stay enslaved, and their home world refused to abandon them.